Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right and good, no feedback. So, all right, everybody, this is Josh Robertson, aka Shortstack, fighting Taylor Moore here at Warrior Wednesday 6. Glad to have you back. It's been a while since we've seen you in the WXC.
It's been a while since I've been in a cage.
That
Couple
too.
years.
Now, of course, during that time, obviously, you had some fights, fall through for various reasons over the last couple of years, but it's got to feel good to not only come back, but come back kind of to your quote unquote home, if you will, if I'm not stepping over any other organizations here, Josh.
No, you're not. WXC's always been great to me. It's great to come back and fight for them. I didn't have fights fall through. I almost fell through. uh, it's just why I'm fighting back up at 125 again because the last fight to 125 got the best of me, and it was I got sick right at the end of it and I couldn't rehydrate. So 135 I won't have to cut any water weight.
Right, absolutely. Now, as I kind of mentioned, obviously you are the former WXC champion. Taylor Moore's been around the WXC for a while. Are you surprised you two have not crossed paths before this date here in August?
Not really. Back when I was really actively fighting, he was just going pro. Um, and I'm cordial with their whole team. I don't dislike anyone on that team. This is just a business. It's not. I'm not going out there to hurt people. I'm going out there to fight. Might sound kind of redundant, but I'm not out there to hurt people. I'm out there to fight and push myself and push that person and entertain our fans. It's not something that I'm going out there with a chip on my shoulder for, like I was with Bedford. It's not the same thing. Um, with that being said, Taylor has kind of, you know, shown that he's capable of a tough fight. And no matter who fights me, it's always going to be a tough fight. If people that look past me always end up, losing or getting hurt at least in the fight. So it's not like something that, and I know James isn't letting him look past me or anything like that. So I know he's going to be ready. I know he's a lot bigger than me, but I have ways to beat that.
Now, of course, your last fight was in 2016. How do you feel how do you feel you are performing? What are some things you felt you've gotten better these last couple of years since you last fought?
Um, well, everything has basically stayed the way it was in 2016, at least. Everything. I mean, I would say everything has evolved, but my jujitsu by far has come leaps and bounds since I fought then. Um, and even that last fight, as bad as it ended and as quick as it wasn't something that I wouldn't have ended with jujitsu if the ref hadn't stopped in. So it's something that my striking is at another level now than it was when I fought Johnny too. Um, I I haven't stopped training. I've taken maybe at max a 2 week hiatus between my last fight and today. So it's not like I'm not out there working, and I hope he's just ready to come and he's ready to bring some fireworks.
Absolutely. And Mike wants a side note here. He said you and Johnny had the bloodiest championship fight in WXC history. He just wanted to remind people.
We did.
Absolutely.
And
that's on our YouTube channel if anyone's wondering.
yep, that's what I go out there for, is to go to a war. I'm not going out there to cut and hurt people, but it's fighting. That happens, and if you look at me wrong, I'm going to bleed. So I know I'm going to bleed some point in every fight. So if you want blood, you just put me on the card.
Absolutely. I'm not sure which one it was. It was either one of your ones for Ohio Cage Combat. You fought for them a few times. I was actually still in college at Bowling Green, and I remember when I was first covering mixed martial arts, I ended up somehow contacting the promoter to get a press pass, and me and my buddy, we got free passes. And I remember your fight. I don't remember any of the fights from that night except your fight. For a
Well,
couple
good.
for a couple different reasons. One, obviously your performance. Two, the fans were so loud cheering Shortstack. I think you came out to your own custom walkout song, which at that time
Yep.
was kind of unheard of. Now it's somewhat popular. And yeah, I was in. Oh God, it was somewhere in. I want to say, gosh, it was like in a big like open warehouse somewhere in Toledo. I completely I forget where it was.
Yeah, it was
But,
at the old Mud Hens baseball stadium.
okay, yeah. So do you remember a lot of those early fights for like Ohio Cage? I just wanted to share that and let you know
Yeah,
that I've been seeing you fight for years. So
that's awesome that of all the fights you remember mine.
yeah,
That's what I fight for. I don't fight. I don't care if I make it to the UFC. I don't care if I make $1 million. I don't care if I make $50. I want people to know that I was in there, and I want people to remember me, and I want people to walk up to me after a fight and say, "That was an awesome fight. That was so entertaining. That was great." And the best thing for me is if those people have kids and those kids look up to me. That's one of my favorite things is when a kid asks for my autograph, and I can hope I stepped into that kid's life at some point and made him think that, you know, there's good stuff you can do out there, and there's good ways you can live your life.
absolutely. Question from Mike. He was wondering, where did it go? Oh, he said, "Are you bringing out the Viking helmet with horns once again to the crowd?"
No, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I
Sure,
gotta yell
sure.
at these dogs.
No worries. I know how it is. I'm surprised. Mine's barked a few times during an interview as well.
Yeah, yeah. All right, sorry.
No
The
worries.
Viking helmet. I
Yeah,
don't wear Viking. I don't wear Viking helmets. That's what my men do. They wear the Viking stuff and they bring the soccer horns and everything like that. So, um, with it being on a Wednesday, I'm trying to get as many of them as I can there. But a lot of my Viking crew travels from outside of the state, so
okay.
it's probably not going to be as big of a turnout for me being on a Wednesday because us
Work.
common folk have real jobs and
Yeah, right,
we can't just travel on a Wednesday to go party for most of
right,
the time.
for sure. But obviously there will be a crowd for you there, not being that far from Toledo and everything. And will that be fun to be fighting in front of everybody again? And this time, on UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I'm really glad it's on Fight Pass purely for the fact that the people that can't see it on a Wednesday will get to be at home and watch it. Um, and I think the numbers for the fight will be really high just because, not tugging my own chain or anything, but just because I'm on it. And the people that normally would show up on a weekend will be there on TV and they'll watch or on the app or whatever, and they'll be there to watch me on that. So at least the numbers will go up for the WXC and it'll help raise that stock.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, speaking of Fight Pass, considering where WXC was when you were the champion and to where it is now, being on Fight Pass, how has it been to you, being one of the competitors, seeing it evolve here in the last few years?
I've seen it evolve more than the last few years. I fought for Mike and Norbert when it was the MXC
Right.
way back when. So um, it's awesome to see the growth of the WXC and just Michigan MMA in general. Because when I first started, Michigan MMA was a joke. Nobody took anyone in Michigan seriously. The people in Michigan didn't take fighting seriously. And just to see all the people that have come from Michigan and gone to high levels of MMA, whether it be UFC, Ryzen, Bellator, any of them, it's just awesome to see the growth of the Michigan scene in general, and it's almost like WXC is one of the leading forefronts of that.
Absolutely. And for those fans, either tuning in to Fight Pass or buying a ticket to Warrior Wednesday 6, if for some reason through the last 10 years or so they haven't seen a Josh Robinson fight, what in a couple words, what should they expect come August 28th?
A show. I mean, I don't look at myself as a fighter as much as I do an entertainer. Um, I'm not out there to lay and prey on somebody. I'm not out there to pin someone against the cage. I'm out there to win a striking battle. I'm out there to win a submission battle. I'm out there to win a cardio battle. I'm not out there to hope and pray three people sitting outside the cage think I should have won. I'm out there to show everyone I won. Even if I lose, nobody ever tells me I lost because it's a great fight. So there to me there is no losing. So do I want to win? Yeah, who doesn't? It's
Right.
a fight, right? Like you don't want to walk out of a fight and say that guy just beat me up. But
Right.
at the same time, if you go out there like Johnny and I did and you go to war, you know, it does something to you as a person. Like Johnny and I talk a lot now, and I couldn't stand Johnny before we fought. And
I think a lot of
that's
people hold that opinion.
well, I mean, there was some personal stuff that was
Yeah.
started with outside influences between him and I.
Right.
Him and I had never spoke before the fight,
Right.
but outside influences kind of led up to that. So I didn't
Yeah.
like him, and I went to war with him for 24 minutes, I think. There's like a minute left in the fight. Um, and I remember I messaged him after the fight and I was like, I remember looking across the cage at one point and looking at his face and just knowing that we both had that mutual respect at that moment for each other.
Right. Hmm.
And that's one thing that when I fight, you can see is I'm an entertainer. I'm a hard fighter. I'm gritty. I'm old school. Like I'm not a super scientific and specialty kind of fighter.
Sure.
I get out there and I'm gonna beat the hell out of you, and you're gonna beat the hell out of me, and whoever's left standing when the dust settles gets their hand raised and gets to say they won.
Absolutely. Let's look at your opponent a little bit here, Taylor Moore. Like I said, you guys have both been around the WXC for quite a few years, finally fighting. What do you expect from Taylor coming into this fight?
To be honest, I haven't watched much tape on him. I made a post on my social media the other day. I don't watch tape on my fighters. Um, all I know is he's a lot bigger than me, which is one of the reasons why I go down to flyweight. Um, but it's also something I'm used to. In my gym, I'm never a big guy. I'm usually the top three smallest of
Right.
the people in any given training session, whether it be Thai, wrestling, or jujitsu. So
Right.
it's not something I'm not used to. Um, what I expect him to do is probably try to pin me against a cage and do like a Randy Couture style fight. Um, I would assume his coaches are not wanting it to be on the ground too long, just with my jujitsu credentials and things like that. As much as I compete in jujitsu, it's almost every weekend in peak season down here. So
Sure.
it's not like it's something that if he does get the takedown me, I don't care because I'm not somebody who goes to my back and waits for the ref to stand us up. I'm fighting, whether I'm on my feet, on my back, on my belly. If he's on my back, I'm fighting. And and I'm always looking for that one little inch that I know he'll give me to grab a submission, to land an elbow for a nasty cut that'll stop the fight or something like that. So it's it's gonna be a good fight. I know that I can expect that. I don't think he's scared of me. I don't think he's scared of my credentials or my experience or my opponent list. Um, and I know James isn't either because I can't even tell you. It's probably 11 years ago. James Gray submitted me with a flying triangle in one of my first ever jiu-jitsu tournaments. So so I know he's got the jiu-jitsu training,
Right.
but I've got more. I've got more experience. I've got more explosion. I've got more speed, and I have more technicality in my striking. So, nothing against Taylor. I respect the kid. I've never spoke to him either, and I've never heard anything bad come out of his mouth about me. But like I said, this is business. This is a fight, and I wouldn't take a fight if I didn't think I could win it. So I know I'm more explosive. I know I'm faster than him, and I know I can outlast him.
All right. Anything you'd like to say to Taylor before you step inside the WXC steel against him?
Just bring it. I be ready for this old man to come at you.
Absolutely. And of course, any shout outs, thank you, sponsors, anything like that, Josh?
I have a lot, and I'm probably gonna forget them, so I apologize in advance. Um, the Mad Viking Beard Company, clearly, as you kind of already brought up. They've been amazing to me for years. They've been one of my main sponsors. Toro BJJ and Cage Side MMA. They they take care of me like I can't even explain. They do so much for me. Um, Fine Line Custom Painting out of Jacksonville, North Carolina. The guy's a huge MMA supporter and former fighter himself that owns that business. So he supports me, and it's awesome to have somebody like that behind me. Bearding for Autism is a charity that I fight for. Um, it's a charity that, to make a long story short, they it's like it's a school that they help autistic kids. So, and it's a charity that helps raise money for the school and stuff like that. So, I that's one of my that one's to the heart a little bit because
No,
I like doing things for charity. Um, and now I'm forgetting people. Team
no, I hear
Lift.
this is my
Um,
autism watch, so I hear you.
yeah, yeah. I actually have a gi patch that's the same thing. It's a
Okay.
beard. It's an outline of a beard, but it's all puzzle pieces.
Oh, that's
So
pretty.
I'll have that on. I'll have that on when I walk out to the fight. Um, but Lyft, Vic Vic's the guy that owns Lyft. He has been with me since the start of my career in 2007, late 2006. So it's amazing that he has been around that long, and he's always given me anything I need. He's driven me down to Florida for stuff, and it's awesome to have somebody that long at my back. Um, as far as other thank yous, I just want to thank, the WXC and Mike and all my fans for not giving up on me after what happened to me in March. If you don't know, um, I'm not going to talk about it here, but you can follow me on Insta or on my athlete page on Facebook, and just scroll down a little bit and you'll find it. It was a hard way, and I lost myself, and finally coming back, and I was gonna call it quits, but MMA is in my life, and I don't think it'll ever be out of my life. So I thank all them people.
Absolutely. Um, and of course, speaking of the fighter page and Instagram, just those official handles so everyone can follow you along this path here coming up for this fight.
So my Snapchat is Shortstack MMA. My Insta is Shortstack_125, and my Facebook page is Shortstack Robinson.
All right.
Fairly simple. I don't have
Yeah.
a ZHA in it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. A little easier. A little easier. All right. Well, he is Shortstack Josh Robinson, and Josh, I really appreciate taking time out of your schedule, chatting with me here this evening, and I'm really looking forward to your fight here against Taylor Moore in about 2 weeks.
All right, thanks, man. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
All right. We'll see you, Josh.
Later.
All right, everybody. Once again, that was Shortstack Josh Robinson right here on our live edition of Fighter Interviews for Warrior Wednesday 6. All right, everybody.